Hi, welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue our exploration of one Chinese expression a day. And in October, we are going over 3-character Chinese formations or expressions or set phrases, which are more fun and more contemporary, more relevant to today's living. Okay, 维生素 is Chinese translation of vitamins. Okay, 维生素. You see here, it sounds vitamins. It sounds have the similar sound quality, but the characters chosen here also gives you this what the meaning of the thing is. So in this case, 维生素 is both sound and meaning, like a double-lined translation. That to me is the higher form of translation. Like you're no longer capturing the sound of it. Vitamins, 维生素, right? It sounds kind of similar, but also you capture the meaning of it. Because vitamins, for Chinese understanding, when we hear 维生素, it sounds like you're connecting lives together with this. So this is good stuff. This is good for you. I guess from the marketing standpoint, this makes vitamins more appealing to children or to average consumers, because this talks about how it's connecting or maintaining. 维 have double meaning to kind of put your life within this network of things that you don't want to isolate it. You want to be sustained or supported by this essence, by this type of chemical. I'm not sure vitamins is a chemical. Not exactly, because it may came from nature, may came from minerals, may came from plant-based, right? But it's, I guess, in essence, is a type of chemical. Because we are biochemical structure, and this is the chemical part of it that comes into our body to help sustain, help connect our body. Okay, let's start with 维生素. 维 came from this fabric symbol. As you can see here, these two. It's a recurring used icons in Chinese that means fabric. So the two half-tone thing is the spools of thread or yarns, and then here the drapey part means the fabric is drapey. So it basically describes 2 stages of fabric formation. One is to make it into a yarn form to prevent it from tangling up, right? Both East and West, people use spool to kind of wind them together. So when you need to use the yarn, you don't need to go through the painful process of untangling things, right? So these are spools, and then you have the fabric form. So made it into 2D form. Spools, thread is still one-dimensional, and the drapey fabric is 2D form. So together they means textile, something related to fabric making. And the right side is the bird symbol. So the bird, we can see it's a side view, kind of bird in flight depiction. So this is the beak of the bird, and this is tiny little eyes of the bird. And I'm not sure what that is here. I'm not sure if the birds have something in there. Maybe some birds have some feathers in there. But here, this long line is you can see the full body in an aerodynamic form, kind of a pretty tightly tucked. And then I guess these and this horizontal lines definitely signifies the feathers of the bird. So I guess this is tiny little wings of the bird, because it's not of a specific bird. So there's no feature that define the bird as a particular type of wing or feather. It's a just general term to show the common features of all the birds. Has the beak, have the feathers, have this aerodynamic body tucked in when they're in flight. So these are birds. So fabric, bird. What do you mean? Okay, my understanding or have to look into the historical context of what life used to be back then. So because I've done this for about 2 years, and from my observation of this ancient culture captured on these characters, that some of them are depicting the old way of life, right? Which we don't get to experience. So it's really hard because we don't have firsthand information on how things used to be done back then. But through imagination and a little bit of reading, I try to go back to see what happened back then. So this bird plus this fabric simply means, to me, the bird capturing mechanism, which is put it in a net to make a net to capture the bird. Actually, in Chinese, we have other characters that are similar, depicting this bird capturing process of having the net set up so that the bird can be captured in. I mean, you cannot, I guess it takes a highly skillful person to train themselves to be good enough to arrow shoot a bird, because it's a pre-gun era. So how can you capture a bird? You have to use a net, kind of like a capture fish as well, right? It's more efficient in that way. You set up a big space waiting for the bird to go in there and pull the net on it. So this net capturing bird, this netting the bird in, eventually means it's less about the bird. It's more about the net, because its function, its application is to build such a net so that bird can be captured in it. And eventually this network of, the net formation, or how the networks can be extended into more abstract concept. In this case, it means connect, because net is connection of all the threads and yarns, interlaced together so they don't go collapse, right? You can pull one major rope of the net and pull up the whole net. So there's a whole structure of the net formation. There are, I guess, weight holding rope, which is, I guess, thicker, right? That you can pull up, and then the remaining of it will extend. And there are like a finer part of the net that forms this main body of the net, but it's not the main yarn or the rope to sustain, to hold up the whole net. So there are different importance of the thread on the net. I mean, to us, in abstract term, the net simply is a net, but net need to have a frame, and it's a collapsible, mobile piece. So it got to have this structure of how this net of this crisscross of threads together or yarns together, and then have to have, the main thing that can hold up the whole frame. So this captured the imagination of the language creators to then use it in this context as connect. And in other contexts, it actually means sustain. So I guess the sustain also captured this symbiotic, is it called a symbiotic nature of humans? Like, if for you to sustain your life, you have to be in a network of your clan, your society, or a network of supplies, right, to be self-sustained. So this net then eventually used as connect or sustain. Or in later days, this way was used as dimension as well, because as we can see, this net formation is made of this one-dimensional thing crisscross into two-dimensional thing. And when you form it in a certain way, you have to capture the bird, right? So it becomes a three-dimensional thing. So I guess that's the earliest exploration of the sense of dimension for early day society, that this way can eventually be used in the contemporary understanding, like a more abstract way of understanding what dimension is. And this was the Chinese character, of all used to capture that dimension. So in this context, wei sheng su, this wei means connecting. is imagine this life as a network. Everything on there need to be kind of connected and integral part of each other. And over here, 维生素 means like one particular entity. Imagine our own body. So it doesn't mean you're connecting socially with another person. It means like even within your own body, it's holistic medicine theory, kind of, right? The whole body is a network. We're connected intricately some way, right? And this 维生素, this vitamins, is one crucial element that's probably invisible to us, but it serves as a function of connecting our, bio elements or structure together so that it can function normally. Okay, that's 维. 生 again, it's trident form of plant, so super simplification of plant. And then the first horizontal line is a ground level. And then you can see the plant has its root, like it has a portion under the ground, and it has a bigger visible portion above the ground, right? And then the second horizontal line is an indicator to mean it's at the very tip of the root, and that's the life supporting environment of the plant, which is the soil, right? So without the trident, the structure would mean soil. And now we have soil plus the plant. It means life, because we have the life itself, and we have the environment that sustains life. So that is the condition. You have to have two, right? You have the life itself and the environment for the life to live off. That's together the life. And even if Chinese only use plant-based symbol, it doesn't narrow scope to plant only. It's all kinds of life form. In this case, it's a microbiome. It's below our skin surface. It's mostly invisible to us, but it's something has to do with your life, and it can go down infinitely to whatever level you want to, microscopic look at it. So that's life here. So we have this petals, and we have this pollen pole that depicts the reproductive organ of a plant. So it's a flower with, pollinated potential there, right? And so this is the pre-fruit stage of the plant. And then we have the same fabric, two spools connected with the fabric drapey down connected. So the whole thing depicts as a plant-based fabric. And so this was used to mean great good. So if you know a little bit about textile, great good are the fabric that's woven together before dyeing process. So we don't see color on it yet. It's not a final finished packaged good. It's in kind of semi-processed and good to be used, formed in different ways as a final product, but it's that beginning stage that's ready to be made into, to be finished. Okay, so Chinese use this great good fabric term to apply to other areas in life that's not the finished form, that it's more essence, like essential, like the pare down. Like if you look at something without a packaging, if you pare down what that is, it's the essence of that. For example, if you look at sparkling water, right, packaged, right, pretty expensive on the shelf. If you look at that essence of it, it's like 99% of water with carbon inserted in it, and that's what sparkly is. And at most you add some flavor to it, but in essence, before the packaging, we look at the essential building material of it. That's what soup is about. So connect bio essence is a Chinese way. To my understanding of the two languages, this is a very good translation of vitamin into Chinese as 维生素. It definitely helps Chinese children like me to be more willing to accept the vitamins as a supplement, because it's sustaining and connecting our life. And it's not something that we can visibly see. You may not even see the effect immediately. And Su captured like this is the essence, and you don't, because it's invisible, you don't question if it exists. Okay, so that's vitamin. I'm using the what do you call it? Citrus fruit, intersections of the citrus to mean it's vitamin C, the most commonly known vitamin. But this is good capture of the plant-based vitamin. That's 维生素. Cashing into the currency of thinking by one word day with